minutes of the special meeting held on February 14th. Item B is the financial report. Item C is approval of Township general fund expenditures, which includes the fire department. And those are checks numbered 42279 through 42344. Accounts payable total $55,392.47. Payroll total $16,607.18. For a grand total of $71,999.65. Item E is approval of water department expenditures, and those are checks numbered 3462 through 3470, and they total $17,339.63. Item F is approval of sewer operating expenditures, and those are checks numbered 1265 through, and that's at 1265. And they total $96.79. Item G is approval of the monthly ACH payments to the state of Michigan and IRS in the amount of $3,756.34. Item H is approval of the presented 2025-2026 Township Board monthly meeting schedule. Item I is approval of a budget amendment to transfer $600 from fund balance of the general fund to insurance and bonds. Item J is approval for a budget amendment to transfer $2,000 from fund balance of the general fund to Nelson Street Professional Services. Item K is approval for a budget amendment to transfer $3,000 from fund balance of the general fund to streetlights. Item L is approval for a budget amendment to transfer $10,000 from fund balance of the general fund to Parks and Recreation Professional Services. And item M is approval for a budget amendment to transfer $20,000 from fund balance of the Garbage and Refuse Fund to Professional Services. If there are no changes to the consent agenda for tonight, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Steggy, seconded by Koloneski to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Any public comment tonight? Okay.
Nice weather.
Pardon me?
Nice weather.
Yes. At least we're starting to get rid of some of the snow. Okay. Under communications and announcements, we have the public notice, the informational meeting of the DDA, and I guess I would just ask at this time if there's any questions or comments regarding that. We did have some discussion at the DDA this afternoon for probably a good 20 to 30 minutes regarding that, so anything from this board? Okay. Moving into department and committee reports then. Item A is our monthly operations services report. That just came in today, and I haven't really looked at it yet. I'm just curious in terms of and it's not going to show for a couple months yet anyway, but I guess I'd be interested when we can see the February one primarily, because I don't recall exactly when we issued our run water order. I know it was sometime in January, to see if there's much fluctuation in those numbers, and looking at January's right in line with last year's. So we'll see what it shows in February. Item B is the sewer report from the city. Looking at those numbers, they continue to remain very consistent on a daily basis. Item C is the DDA's minutes from the rescheduled meeting on February 5th. And item D, the Board of Review did not meet. They did meet today, So those will be in the next packet. Item E is the Building and Grounds Committee meeting, and that last meeting was canceled. So there's nothing in the packet for that. Item F, the Planning Commission, you have the minutes of the February 18th meeting in your packet. Item G is Bob Hall's monthly zoning report. And item H is Ron's code enforcement report. Item I is the minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting, which was held on February 4th. The Fire Department report, item K, is in your packet. And that takes care of reports. So moving into new business, we have item A, consideration of approval of the presented fiscal year 2026 budget as discussed at the budget hearing, which was held on February 4th, and also to appropriate millage, a rate of 3.0 allocated for operating. So we just need a motion for approval. Brian?
Did I just say, do we have the committee report too, or is that coming up? A motion to approve a request for fire department and revenue sharing.
Oh, that, yeah, that's gonna be down item O. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that budget, does that include these changes, these amendment, these transfers? Or is that after?
No, these transfers would go under the 24-25 budget,
The current budget.
our current budget, yeah. 'Cause the budget we're approving is the one for 25-26, which begins on April 1st. Anything else?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Hachinsky, a second by Dean Cruz to approve the budget as presented at the budget hearing on February 4th. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, motion by who?
Doing a good job. It was a motion by
I made the.
Tom Hachinsky, second by Dean.
Okay, roll
Yeah,
call.
do the roll call, Brian.
Dale Kalinowski,
Yes.
Tom Staggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes, Tommy Chinsky.
Yeah.
Okay, item B is consideration of approval of the DDA's annual budget for fiscal year 2026. Again, which was discussed at the budget hearing on February 4th. Any discussion on that?
First, we have to have a motion to approve it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do need a motion to approve, and then we can discuss. So is there a motion to approve the
I'll make
DDA
a
budget?
motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Kalinowski, second by Steggy to approve the DDA budget for the fiscal year 2025, 2026. Now any discussion? Okay, Brian?
Roll call, Tommy Chinsky,
Yes.
Dale Kalinowski,
Yes.
Tom Staggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes.
Okay, item C is consideration of approval of the presented wages, salaries, charges, and fees resolution for 2025, 2026.
I so move.
I'll support.
Okay, Okay, motion by Dean Cruz, second by Brian Cruz, for approval. Any discussion on that schedule? I thought we were gonna have somebody, I know Jim's out of town, I thought we were gonna have somebody here from the fire department, but I'll follow up with Jim. I had a couple questions on there just in terms of looking at the rate increases. You know, it was pretty standard, but there was a couple that were significantly higher than the others in terms of the rate of increase, and I don't think looking at it, to me, I think it puts them in line maybe where they should be, but I just wanted to get some feedback from the fire department on that rationale, so I'll just discuss that. If I'd have known Logan wasn't gonna be here tonight, I could have asked him today when I signed the grant request, but anyway, if there's nothing else on that, Brian, you wanna do a roll call?
Yes, Terry Walker,
Yes.
Tom Staggy,
Yes.
Tom McKinsky,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes. Dale Kalinowski,
Yes.
Dean Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, item D is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the clerk's annual salary.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Dean Cruz, second by Steggy, to approve the resolution establishing the clerk's annual salary. Any discussion? Okay, Brian?
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Tom McKinsky,
Yeah.
Tom Staggy,
Yes.
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes.
Okay, item E is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the supervisor's annual salary.
I so move.
Or.
Motion by Kolonowski, second by Hachinsky, to approve the resolution establishing supervisor's annual salary. Any discussion? Okay, Brian?
Dean Cruz,
Here. Yes.
Tom McKinsky,
Yeah.
Dale Kalinowski,
Yes.
Tom Staggy,
Yes.
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes.
Item F is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the treasurer's annual salary. And I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Motion by Walker, second by Brian Cruz, to approve the resolution establishing the treasurer's annual salary. Any discussion? All those in favor, I'm sorry, Brian?
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes. Tom Staggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Dale Kalinowski,
Yes.
Tom McKinsky,
Item G is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the trustee's annual salary.
I make the motion.
I'll second. Motion by Dean Cruz, second by Walker, to approve the resolution establishing the trustee's annual salary. Any discussion? Brian?
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Dale Kalinowski,
Yes.
Tom McKinsky,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes. Tom Staggy.
Yes.
Item H is consideration of approval to hold the annual spring brush pickup and permission to advertise in the newspaper to seek bids.
I so move.
I second.
Motion by Dean Cruz, second by Kolonowski, to approve holding the annual spring brush pickup and to also advertise in the newspaper to seek bids. Any discussion? And I'd just make the comment, I did, trying to get ahead of the game this year, I did talk with Scott Mikołajczyk today just to let him know that that was on the agenda for tonight so he could start, you know, working on his bid, so he's aware. And talking with Tammy today, we're probably gonna have those bids due on March 28th, I believe it is. Yeah, March 28th, Friday. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item I is consideration of approval for a request of financial support from the Mason Lake Conservation District in the amount of $1,043.10 for the Household Hazardous Waste Clean Sweep Collection Day, which will take place in Manistee County at the Road Commission on Saturday, August 16th of 2025.
I so move.
I support.
Motion by Kolonowski, second by Brian Cruz to approve the request for financial support for the Clean Sweep Collection Day, Household Hazardous Waste Clean Sweep, to be held on August 16th, 2025. And that's in the amount of $1,043.10. Any discussion on that?
Yeah,
Tom?
and I bring this up every year. I think I'd like to find out who donates and how much each of them donate of the three counties that we're doing. If every township gives $1,000, that's gonna be a pretty good piece of change to have.
And my recollection, Tom, is that we asked for some figures last year, and we got some figures from them. I don't remember if, I know they gave us numbers in terms of participation, I think, in each municipality. I don't know if we got, if any of you recall, that we get information on the amount donated by each municipality?
Now, does this include tires? Is this one gonna include tires?
That's a separate one.
Okay, because the party that questioned me today was how come Stronach can have a tire pickup and not Filer? Why can't we get something in Filer, you know? And I know this is done out at the road commission,
Yeah.
and I know last year I probably said the same damn thing, but, you know.
I can certainly, I'll reach out to them, Tom, on behalf of the township and request information on participation from the different municipalities, the number of people that participate in each. I don't know if they record that information at the event or not. It's been a couple of years since I've taken anything out there, and I can't remember if we had to give them that information when we, you know, I know they hit us up for a donation there, also individually.
When you go there,
cash
this
donation.
party said they stick their hand out and they want a $20 bill.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I read that in here somewhere that they do that. But I will ask if we can get information regarding participation within each municipality and the donation from each municipality.
Put it with the check so we know if they cash the check, we know they got the letter. They won't ignore answering. We're gonna send a check to these people for $1,000.
Yeah. Oh, send the request.
Put the request in with that check
Yeah,
and we know they got it and
Sure.
they shouldn't ignore it. They know
Sure.
where it's coming from.
just in case I forget, remind Shirley to hold that check until I get her that in writing.
Okay,
You know, I'll write something to that effect. Let me make a note here, and I'll just put here letter with check.
Well, it looks like that the amount that the townships contribute is based on their population, so obviously
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot more than some of the other ones.
I think it is based on population, but then the participation you would think might be just a little bit in correlation with the population. I don't know, but I'd be interested to know if they do keep track of, you know, where everything's coming from, you know, what municipality.
My
I don't
guess
know if
is
they
they
do or not.
probably don't, because they'd have to stop everybody.
Yeah, a lot of paperwork,
You know,
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they
Yeah.
have enough people to.
But we could, I'm sure we could certainly find out, what other municipalities contribute to this service, so. Okay. So now I've lost track here. We didn't
We
vote
were
on
on
that
aye.
motion, did we? We've
You had a motion
we've got a
by
motion,
Dale, and I
and it's
supported
been
it.
seconded, but we
Yeah.
just haven't voted. So,
Yeah.
discussion, any other discussion on this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion? signify-
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Item J is consideration of approval of a request for annual support from the Manistee Recreation Association in the amount of $10,000.
You got a concern with this?
It's the same amount as last year, was it 90-some hundred?
Yeah, it was 9,000 something last year,
9,600 or
as
something.
I recall. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. What-
Some of these are not our residents, I don't think.
Yeah,
I got a list of them here, Dale.
No,
I
that's
was
what
gonna
he's-
wait until discussion.
yeah. Well, let's get a motion on the table, then we can discuss.
I'll make a motion to send them the 10 grand.
I'll support it.
Okay, motion by Achinsky, second by Brian Cruz, to approve the request from the Manistee Recreation Association in the amount of $10,000 from the township. Now, discussion, your concern, Dale, is that the list of people they have here that they provided scholarships to, some are not in the township? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, and I guess I would respond to that and say I wouldn't be real surprised by that. I know back a number of years ago, when I think it was early on when we started contributing to the pool at the school. I asked and asked and asked and finally got a list of participation. And as I went down through that list, that were labeled as being, residents of Filer Township, I found a few that weren't, I knew personally that weren't in Filer Township, and there were, of course, a number of people on there that I didn't know personally. I could have looked them all up. So based on that, it wouldn't surprise me on some of these kinds of things that people will go in and sign up so that they can take advantage of the program, like at the pool, get a reduced rate for usage, and here to be able to get a scholarship to help cover the cost of participating in a program. Yeah,
I only see one name on here that's not in Filer Township.
okay.
One name?
Only one?
How about the SOIL?
It's Free Soil.
Is that-
That's because they're out in the Shingle Mill Lake, but their mailing address is Free Soil, but they're in Filer Township.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
and that's fine.
That's fine, yeah, that's fine.
I have no problem with that, but then, we don't have a, Scotchless Road in
That's the
Violet.
one, that's the only one.
Oh, no, there's more. Park Street is up by Reach Park, and that's in the city of Manistee, because
No,
the line.
Oh, yeah, Park Street was
Right
here.
here.
Park Street
Park Street right across the
I wasn't
road.
thinking that one though.
Okay. How about, I thought there was a park by Reach Park too, that one street that's in the city.
I don't know.
Browning Avenue, I
That's,
think that runs
there's a
east and
Browning
west.
Avenue, east and west, yeah, in the
And
city.
that's by the golf course, which
Yeah.
is all right. And
But that's not in the township.
here's a Fifth Street, Manistee. And then there's a Olson Road,
Oh, that's way out there.
Olson Road?
Olson Road.
It's East Lake.
I mean, these are kids, and that's all right, if they're making a mistake of,
Or they could be,
and not
they
saying.
could be
they
kids that live in
Manistee
two
or
different
Toronto or
houses
wherever.
because their parents are
Well,
divorced.
that's a good point. I don't know if you heard that.
What?
It could be some of the kids, their parents are divorced and they spend part of their time with their mother here and part of their time with their father here. And so,
Yeah,
Well,
No,
we've been
that's-
doing it for years, we're gonna continue, so.
that's a good
Yeah.
point. Well, it's for kids. It is for kids. I know when I looked at the list on the high school pool, so I know they live in Onakama, you know. But,
Almost all of those are fiber. I mean,
yeah. Most of them are filer,
Okay,
the bulk of them. Okay?
not gonna change our minds.
Any other discussion? Okay.
Roll call.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a roll call on that?
Tommy
Ready?
Jazinski,
Yes,
Dale Kolonowski,
Yes,
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Tom Staggy,
Yes,
Brian Cruz, yes, Dean Cruz.
Yes.
Okay. Item K is consideration of approval of $48,453 to Municipal Underwriters of Michigan for the 2025-2026 PAR Plan Insurance Renewal and Cyber Liability Coverage option. And
What was it last year? I think it was right around 40-some thousand last year too. 40,
I think it was 42.
42?
I think. And I had intended to ask Shirley tonight until I found out today she wasn't gonna be here tonight, so,
40-some, I remember that.
yeah. I know it's gone up, it's definitely gone up, and, I guess, you know, we have had a few things, taken care of by our insurance.
eventually we get some dividends paid back 2 or 3 years later, once they closed out the books, so.
We do, okay, that's good to know. I guess the other,
It's
the
not a
big,
ton of money, but it's
yeah,
money coming back.
the big thing that I think of right away is that coverage for cyber
I
liability.
think that's one of the reasons why it's
Yeah,
up, because I
that's
don't
why
think we
it's
used to
gone
have
up.
it or not much
Yeah,
on it. We have
yeah. And we know there's so much more of that going on now that you gotta have it.
I'll make a motion, we accept the amount.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Brian Cruz, second by Dean Cruz, to approve the $48,453 to municipal underwriters for the 25-26 park plan insurance renewal and cyber liability coverage. And have you got a, okay, go ahead, Brian.
Tom Staggy,
Yes,
Brian Cruz, yes, Tommy Jazinski,
yes,
Dale Kolonowski,
yes,
Dean Cruz,
Yep.
Terry Walker.
Yes. Okay, item L is consideration of approval in the amount of $100 to Consumers Energy for streetlight installation at the corner of Ramona Drive and Meadowwood Drive, and direct the supervisor to sign the contract and the resolution.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Kolonowski, second by Dean Cruz, to approve the resolution, or not the resolution, I'm sorry, the installation of a streetlight at the corner of Ramona Drive and Meadowwood Drive by Consumers Energy at the cost of $100. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call vote on that?
We don't really need one for that amount, I don't think. We can do one if you want.
Well,
Yeah.
they got it down here.
We're gonna do one then. Brian says we're doing one.
Dale Kolonowski,
Yes,
Brian Cruz, yes, Terry,
Yes.
Tommy Jazinski,
yes.
Tom Staggy,
yes.
Brian, or Dean Cruz.
Yes.
You learned that if it's written down, he's gonna do it.
It's written down.
You're gonna get a bonus, I know you are.
Okay, item M is consideration of approval for a Dell Optiplex desktop computer with Windows 11 for the township clerk, which includes configuration and installation in the amount not to exceed $2,171.99. That's from a VC3 quote.
is Shirley gonna be okay with it? She must know about this.
No, she knows about it, and I talked with Tammy about it today, and some of that increased cost has to do with,
Payroll and all that stuff.
well, yeah,
Harris.
Harris,
Harris, yeah.
what she has to do on there and so.
So what
this
did
will cover
we
it.
authorize last month? We authorized 5,000 something for
That
3
was for
computers?
3, yeah, and
Whose were those computers?
those were Tammy's, and then one for the office for the new
New one?
person, and one for,
Ron?
Elections.
Ron?
no,
No.
no, that was,
Elections.
that was a laptop, for elections, yeah, for
Elections?
Shirley's office, yeah, for elections.
And this is strictly for Shirley? A new
Yeah.
updated
Yeah,
Windows 11?
yeah, and my understanding is the one that she's using has been there a long time.
Okay, this should handle everything she's got, right? Who quoted that?
Well, that's-
Who quoted this one? The same people that quoted?
VC3,
I'll make the motion, we get this.
As long as it handles everything, you know?
And
I'll support the motion.
motion by Kolonowski, second by Hachinsky to approve the purchase of the Dell Optiplex desktop computer with Windows 11 for the township clerk. That includes configuration, installation, and the amount is $2,171.99. And I don't know, Kathy, you're familiar with that. Is there anything else you want to add to that in terms of?
No, she checked with Harris.
Yeah.
And if they ever go to the same program that Tom uses for taxes, then this computer would handle that.
Okay.
So,
Be compatible.
yes, and they just switch over.
Okay, good. Any other discussion? Brian, you're up again.
Want to do a roll call for that? Okay.
I think
Sure.
we
Isn't
should.
it on there?
No. No, but we'll do it. All right,
Sorry.
Tom Stakey,
Yes.
Terry Walker,
Yes.
Brian Cruz, yes. Tom Machinsky.
Yes.
Dean Cruz.
Yes.
Dale Kalnowski.
yes,
Okay, item N, I had mentioned that we had a lot of discussion at DDA today about the Hamlet project. Tyler Lampinen was at that meeting today, actually before it was a meeting, so we were just having some general discussion. And then we had a fifth member show up, so we had a quorum, so at that point, we held our meeting. And one of the things that we discussed in the meeting was where we're at on DDA director. And the board at our last meeting approved the job description. And so the DDA came up with a list, I want to say it was probably a list of about 8 places that we're going to advertise for a DDA director, and asked Tammy to send that job description out to these places tomorrow, or this week anyway, get that out there. And talked about having applications due by the end of the month, the 28th. The DDA does not have a regularly scheduled meeting on the calendar for April, but talked about we may call one, hopefully, to deal with this. And they voted to establish a committee to review any applicants we get. And we had 3 people from the DDA that wish to serve on that committee, and I would like to get maybe 2 board members to sit on that committee, so that when the applications come in, the committee can review those applications, set up any interviews that they wish with applicants that are of interest, and then that committee can make following interviews, can make a recommendation to the board, to this board, for hiring a person to fill that position. So that's what I'm looking for right now. In conjunction with that, we also talked about the possibility of, because, you know, you're aware of the timeline here for a development project, talked about the possibility of the chamber assisting the township in that capacity until we get a DDA director on board, which, you know, that could be, I would say sometime in April at the earliest, that we'd have a DDA director on board. So in the meantime, for the rest of this month, to assist the DDA, April. So they asked me, I've had several, as I told you before, I've had several discussions with Carmen Cott, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, who took Stacy Biteworks' place. So I am going to reach out to her and inquire about the possibility of them filling that role until we get somebody hired. You know, and the discussion, I'm sure, is going to center around, you know, what do we need from them in a way, you know, what kind of a job description would they be doing in the interim, what it would cost, and all of that. So I guess that right now I guess I'm asking for approval from this board to allow me to do that, to have that conversation with Carmen Cott, and then also to get a volunteer or two to serve on that committee. So
I'll make a motion to give you permission to do it.
I'll second.
okay, motion by Hachinsky, second by Dean Fruce, to authorize the supervisor authority to discuss with the Chamber of Commerce the feasibility of them filling the role of DDA director for the interim until we get a DDA director on board. Any discussion?
Sounds good. Go ahead.
And I, you know, one thing we talked about the DDA too is a possibility that depending on how everything shakes out, they might even fill that role for the long term. You know, who knows? But anyway, we've got to get that process going. So, okay, all those in anything else? We had discussion on that. Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I guess I'm going to leave it as far as your volunteering to serve on that committee. If you don't want to volunteer right now at this place and time, I want to think about it, whatever, get back to me. I will, if I don't hear from anyone, I will be reaching out and pulling some chains. So we'll leave it at that. That's what I'm looking for, though. I would like to get a committee together, because after the ad goes out and, you know, applications start coming in, we're going to need to review any applications that come in, I think, first, and then go from there to set up meet and greets or interviews or whatever. So, and hopefully, I mean, we're all going to be gone that first week in April, and our next board meeting won't be until the 8th, I think it is, yeah, April 8th. So it would be nice if we could take some action at that meeting.
Yeah.
I'll do it, but I got a problem. I have Marlene, but I'm working on that.
I'll talk with you.
Marlene's not a problem.
Okay, we won't get into that. Item O is the fire department grant. We just need to approve the fire department seeking that grant in the amount of $2,980.77. public safety grant, the revenue sharing board.
I'll make a motion to do it.
I'll support it, but it's written up as 3,000 even.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I'm looking at,
Well, the paperwork does say 29 something, but
Yeah.
according to the minutes, it's 3,000
oh,
even.
according to them.
Well,
Oh, from,
My voting sheet.
oh, okay, okay.
I took the vote, the actual.
What is it?
Yeah,
for?
yeah, it's, the actual, 'cause this is the paperwork I signed,
I'll
it is
change this then. What is
two,
it?
$2,980,
And 77 cents.
$2,980
Yep.
and 77 cents,
Got it.
yeah.
That's good. So the
And
motion was-
again, that was for,
I'll make the motion.
I'll support it.
okay, we have motion by Dean Cruz and second by Hachinsky. And I think in that motion, we should just include too what the piece of equipment was. And Tom, you had it, and I'm not finding it.
It
It
is
was some kind of a monitor.
Welsh Allen 4400 vital sign monitor.
Okay, a vital sign monitor, yeah. Yeah, I know Jim talked about the one they have sometimes not functioning correctly, so, okay. Any other discussion on that? Brian, what's your pleasure?
We did, just a.
We just need to vote.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Public comment? Any public comment?
I was wondering, can we get a copy of like, the zoning administration or the code enforcement H? Does the public or us, do we get a copy of that?
You can, yes, you can request a copy of that. That's not a
Okay.
problem,
I
sure.
would like to request a copy of that.
Okay. See me after the meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if I had to go up there or not.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Anything else? Any other public comment? Okay, anything else to come before the board tonight? Dean, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Dale?
No.
Tom?
Anything happening on those things on, those little cabins?
Nelson Street.
Yeah. Yes. And I can't tell you exactly where it's at right now. I know that, emails have been sent and, I think there's been, discussion with legal. I know I can't think of his name right now, but he's the tribal police officer, has come and talked to me about it just a couple weeks ago. No more than 3 weeks ago, we talked again about it, and I know, and then I spoke with Bob again, and he did copy me on an email, I believe, if I remember right. So it's something they're working on. It's, yeah, the owner of the property has to evict the people who are there, from what I was told, if I understand it right. He has to evict them, and if they don't leave, he has to contact law to do that, and then once they're evicted, he can put padlocks on that. We've been told by the sheriff's department not to go on that property. So, yeah, it's a tough one, but I know they're working on it. Anything else? Brian, do you have anything?
No.
Tom? Then a motion for adjournment.
I so moved.
Motion by Dean Cruz, second by Brian Cruz.
Yes.
For adjournment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.